Hi, I'm Jennifer from Shabby Fabrics. Today I'm going to show you how to do foundation paper piecing. If you've never tried this before, maybe been a little bit nervous about trying it, I'm going to take the mystery out of that for you today. As I said, it's called foundation paper piecing. Some people just call it paper piecing. If you've heard those two words, they really are interchangeable. Now I want to make sure I differentiate that from English paper piecing, which is completely different. I've shot videos on English paper piecing. You can certainly see those if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll be sure to not miss any of our videos. So let me tell you how. It's a little bit of a mind bender. Follow along. We'll have an overhead camera that'll help you see, and I'll try to go slowly so you can follow right along and be successful. Now, if you want to be able to make this heart, which we turned into a pillow, be sure to go to our Shabby Fabrics homepage. At the very bottom, there's a link that says free downloads. Click that. You'll be looking for the paper pieced heart pillow, and there'll be 5 pages. So you'll want to go ahead and print those out, and you will actually be sewing fabric to the paper. So just know whatever paper you print out, the first is the instructions of what you'll need, as well as how to finish the pillow. And then the other 4, you'll actually be, the 3, you'll be sewing to. And then the last page is going to tell you how to do the envelope backing. We did that so that you could get a standard size pillow form and take it in and out as you prefer. So let's get started. The pillow was basically made in 3 quadrants. I'm going to show you something a little bit out of sequence here, so show you how it ends, and then we'll work our way backwards. Now, consequently, these beautiful fabrics are High Tea by Jera Brandvig. She's a designer for Lucian, and absolutely, she is. She has a blog, Quilting in the Rain. I encourage you to go see Jera over there. She's just a dynamite woman, super mom, amazing designer, and this is her collection with Lucian. I'm sure she's got more in the works and can't see what she's coming up with next. Can't wait. So that's High Tea again. Now, like I said, I want to show you how we're going to do this in sections. So this will hopefully help make sense. So we've got this page is going to generate this section here. And then this page is going to actually generate this section here. Notice they're reflected. So this is what it's going to end up looking like. We're going to make this into 3 sections and then sew them together. So hopefully that'll give you kind of a visual, how is this coming together? First thing you want to do, we'll start with the smaller section and we'll work our way up from there. Now don't cut on the dashed line. That'll ultimately be a line that you'll need later. For now, I'm just going to cut outside of that. Just roughly. You don't need to measure anything. I'm just kind of getting that cut out so I can use it. And you can discard that, of course. The pieces are numbered such that anything that is dark gray is your background. That's the cream. Now, that's the only fabric that we purchased separately or using separately from the High Tea. That's just, I think we used 9617 color 111 by RJR Fabrics, Cotton Supreme, solid, beautiful fabric. But everything else there is High Tea. Again, anything gray is going to be that cream if you're going to be replicating this, or whatever your background is. Anything in white, that's when the color comes in. The numbers indicate the sequence, of course, with which you'll begin. 1A, we're going to start here. And our fabric for 1A happens to be a green. That's the section right here. So you will need to make sure that you have a piece that's this size plus at least 1/4 inch. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to visualize how big of a piece do I need to cut. Now you can just cut a significantly larger piece. So let's see here. We can see our pattern underneath. I could just come out here and just loosely cut a larger piece like this. And I know that's more than sufficient. Or another option would be, if you're more comfortable, and you want to have the fabric face side down. So you've got wrong side up. Another thing that you could do, I can see that underneath, is I'm just going to draw roughly where I'd want to cut. so that whatever you're most comfortable with. And I'm going to come down like this. And then you can just come in with your rotary cutter quickly and then trim that off. What you don't want, and I've done this before when I've done foundation paper piecing, and I haven't done a lot of this. I'm typically piecing quilts or appliquing quilts. I haven't done a lot of foundation paper piecing. I think just a handful of times. What I would try to do is scrimp, because I didn't want wasted fabric, and then I ended up, my piece was too small, and I ended up cutting again. So just make sure you have plenty of fabric. Also, you might want to add a little bit of sizing to your fabrics before you start cutting them out. It just gives a little bit more body to the fabric, so when you're pressing it over, which you'll see soon, it just gives a more succinct and crisp press. So again, pick your favorite, doesn't matter which one. Now, I'm using a Sew-Line glue pen. Love this thing. I use it for English paper piecing, things like this. Now, this is the part you have to kind of wrap your head around, and it doesn't feel natural. The wrong side of the paper is going to go against the wrong side of the fabric. So just remember, wrong sides together. So I'm going to put a little bit of a strip of glue here, and I'm just going to iron that like that, or just press that like that, excuse me. Just going to press it down so it's all stuck together. I don't want anything moving around. You could pin it, but I would prefer to just do this way so that I don't have the bump of pins and I don't poke myself, etc. Now, we found a tool called Add a Quarter Plus. This tool is so fantastic for multiple reasons, but for foundation paper piecing, watch how cool this tool is. So I've just glued piece 1A to the back side. Now 2A will naturally be my next. Now there's two sides to this ruler. One has kind of a lip and an edge, and one is more of a sharper edge. It's not sharp, but it's more of a, there's no lip there. I don't know if you can see the profile of that or not, but it's very much succinctly coming this way. So with that sharper edge, I'm going to go right up to the line, and I'm going to fold this back. Okay? Just like that. Now I'm going to turn this around. See this little ledge I have? This is just going to lock right into that. You see that? And of course, from here to here is a 1/4 inch. And I'm going to use my rotary cutter to trim this off. Now I'm ready to go for my next piece. As I said before, the dark gray is our background fabric, which is the cream. So we'll be using that next. So let's get that out. So don't you love it when you find tools that just make your life easier? I love that every time. So here's our cream. And again, I'm going to just probably, I might just get a piece like this. I want to make sure there's plenty. There's my selvage. Let's get that off. There is a little bit of waste with English paper piecing, or with that foundation paper piecing, excuse me. So just know that. Now, I shouldn't have probably just cut that willy-nilly. I need a nice succinct edge. This is where I like my small ruler. And I'm just going to go very succinctly like this. Why am I being so specific about that? Because here, I'm going to place this. Let's see here. That's going to need to be, so I'm going to place it like this, stack right on top of the next fabric. I'm going to close that and stitch on that line. And when I just want to visually show you, once that's pressed out, you're spanning this distance, okay? So I know it's a little bit of a visual, it's a little bit confusing at first, but we're going to put those two edges together, stack right on top of each other, as such, and I'm going to pin. And now let's take that to the sewing machine. I want to let you know right out of the gate that because you will naturally be peeling and tearing the paper away, shorten your stitch length so that you're not weakening your stitches when you do pull that paper away. So I have a nice short stitch length here. I'm going to start from the dashed line and go all the way to the dashed line. Don't just start where that line begins, and this is going to be very important you do this all throughout. Even when you get to the other sections here. you know, it's not as obvious. Start at least 1/4 of an inch out here and go to 1/4 inch out here, not stopping here, because as you add on to this, you want to make sure your stitches are secured under the next layer. So starting here, I like sewing on lines. I can do that part, usually correct. All right, trim that, those threads, take the pin out, and now I will rotate that fabric and we'll take it here and press. So you can see in the beginning, now I can start just trimming some of this bulk away because it's kind of just annoying, it's kind of in your way. But in the very end, you'll square the whole thing up. So don't worry about these goofy sides and how there's extra fabric and it's not straight. You can handle this. At first that bugged me about foundation paper piecing, but once you square that up, and that's what these dash lines are for, at the very end, you'll get it all nice and tidied up. Next piece will be piece 3. So how do you do that? You'll go ahead, first thing of course you need to do, when you peel this back, you can either cut your fabric ahead of time. In fact, let's do that. Let's always do it the same way, where we're going to decide what size we're going to cut that fabric. I'm laying that over top. More than enough. I'll come out here. Okay, so put that aside for now. How do you lay this thing back? You just do the little bit of the ripping, all right, and bring it back until, and we'll use this to help us. We're just going to leverage it right over top of that. Just like this, okay? And again, we're going to use the other side. We're going to lock that in, and let's trim that away. All right, now this is where I want to make sure that's going to work. Yes, that's going to go underneath. Just like that. We have a nice crisp edge. We'll close that. We're going to pin it. And let's take that to the sewing machine. Again, all the way to that dash line at least. You don't need to worry about going forward and back and interlocking, kind of securing the front and the back, because everything's going to be crisscrossing and locked in anyway. So now, trim away those threads. Same story. Let's take that and flip that and take that to our iron. Here. Let's just trim that away. In fact, I want to square that up. I'm going to go ahead. I don't have a big ruler with me, but let's just start squaring this up because I want you to see at this point how we just square up. You're simply just, I don't need to keep turning, do I? I have a spinning mat. Why aren't I using it? I don't know, but I'm going to start using it right now. And I love my spinning mat. It keeps things safer for me, more accurate. Sometimes I forget I've got a spinning mat and I don't have to keep lifting up my piece. I can just rotate the mat. Okay, so that's the first section ready to go. Now you will repeat those same steps for the next 2 sections. And as I mentioned before, and this is very important, you just start with your piece 1B, gluing it to the back side, wrong sides together. You're not going to go from here to here. You're going to start out here and come to here. Add your next piece, same story. You're always going to make sure you are at least 1/4 inch beyond. So once you have this section and this section done, I'll bring those out right now. So there's that, and this one. So we will sew, see these engineered corners, how they just fit into that slot right there. And they just fit so beautifully. Now, this is important because you want to make sure that your shape of your heart and your cream is all correct. You see that place where both of those creams come together? I am always mindful of intersections and those points coming together. So even though I like being able to pin just here and work my way down, sometimes what I do is get that intersection that must happen, that place, which is right there. And I'm going to pin that first because I really want that to all line up. All right. And then I'll come in here and just pin. And then simply sew on that solid line. And that's what we have here. We've done that step ahead of time. And just press your seam open as best you can, and we'll peel off the paper shortly. So once you're at this stage, same story. You know, we want this, that's very important that we line that up. So once you have it like this, you'll go ahead and pin those more tender places that you know need to come together all the way up and sew on the solid line. And again, we'll flip it. And that's what you have here. Now, subsequently, when you get ready to take this off, you simply rip it away. You just simply rip it away, and that's all there is to it. So that is how foundation paper piecing works. If you're going to finish your project into the pillow, again, you'll need that download. We're going to need this paperwork anyway in order to do the project. But the first page of the instructions show you to do borders and outer borders as well as your envelope backing. So I hope I've taken the mystery out of foundation paper piecing. Think about this project maybe for Valentine's as well. So I hope you enjoy learning how to do foundation paper piecing with Shabby Fabrics.